Live from the Figgis Studios, it is Weekend Geek Update. Smurf here, back from a long birthday celebration. Along with my creative team that helps keep me together and the glue in the places that it needs to be. Our sponsor, Susie Q's.
Hey.
And our master of photography behind the scenes, the one and only Vadim.
Woohoo!
Yay, Vadim!
Yay!
I don't know how to call myself master. But.
Oh, you're way beyond master. Come on, all the hours they say by definition.
Oh, yeah.
So there's our sponsor. This is me. This is Vadim. Welcome to the Weekend Geek Update.
How are things going after, like, your 7-day birthday celebration?
Does that seem excessive? I mean, I was thinking about this. Does this seem excessive? Even for, 525 benchmark,
right.
quarter of a century here. Millennia, something like that. I forget whether the terminology.
I mean, you're talking to a person who celebrates her birthday for a month.
But I think it's different when you're. I mean, females I think are a little different. I think there's more. I'm navigating this carefully.
Where are you going?
I'm really navigating this one carefully. I think there's just more like energy and fun. It's a guy. Guys don't celebrate this. Girls, you want to celebrate them. You want to celebrate their beauty, the coming of age. I'm not getting out of this. Smurf, shut the fuck up. I get that. If I can do it a month long, you bet your ass I would.
I mean, my month-long birthday is a little less drunkenly. If that's
more of a sobriety kind of approach to it.
It's just not as like we don't drink for 31 days. Of course, there's that bothersome Christmas right in the middle of
you got holidays,
all of that. But I'm not saying that there isn't drinking. It's just a different level. Because I'm such a lightweight, and we've talked about like. I took some medication that changed the way that I metabolize alcohol, so I wasn't a big drinker to begin with, and now, you saw me 1 can of wine at the Space Needle, and it was all over. So
I just attribute that to altitude. Interpret that how you like. The funny thing is, though, so Sunday, which we go to the Mile High Comics event, they had the guy that plays Beta. Being myself with my mic. Did you get that?
Apparently the birthday celebration
out of sorts today.
Because you partied hard for 7 days. Wow. That's not true. I'm just making that up.
It is close. So Sunday, Easter, of course. Brett and I meet up at Mile High Comics to go to the signing with the guy from Walking Dead. He plays Beta.
Right.
Big, huge, tall, grizzly motherfucker. You can go to our Instagram and the Facebook page and see a picture with Brett Leader 1, myself, and him.
It's a good picture.
Thank you. After that, because we showed up there about 1, hung out for an hour.
Yeah.
We were sitting there, and all of a sudden he just walks right by us, and we're like,
hello.
Well, hello. And he's all like, hello. And we had this little interaction. We're like, you're the one we're here to see.
Right.
I'll be back at my table in a while. And he goes sauntering on off into Mile High Comics. So Brett and I got nothing better to do. So we're wandering around. We get mistaken twice being employees of Mile High Comics.
Well.
Which I don't really know how to take that. Because we had a guy that's asking where a particular comic would be. And Brett kind of looks at me and looks at the kid and he's like, it's alphabetical.
And there's signs. Like, there's giant signs hanging from the ceiling in the Jason Street store, which is where I assume you were.
Yes.
So
the funny thing is, he's looking for Power Rangers. And I just started laughing. And I'm like, okay. Try on our Mighty Morphin.
Right.
Oh, yeah. And then he goes toddling on off.
Oh, my God.
Like, not more than 15 minutes later, his mom starts trying to chase us down to get answers to questions. And again, I don't know if I should feel complimented or insulted that they think I work at Mile High Comics. And I'm like, okay.
Well, when you're in a comic shop, there's a vibe.
There is a vibe.
Regardless of what shop you're in, where in the world you're in that shop, there is a vibe. And there's a dividing line. You can tell the people who know what's up versus the ones that don't. And I don't mean to sound like a gatekeeper or anything negative, but that is the reality of the comic book shop. Some people there are putting off a vibe that they know what's going on, and some people there are putting off a vibe that they don't.
Right.
Sometimes, and unfortunately, the I don't know what's going on people are working there, but those are few and far between. And I'm not saying that that's the case at Mile High at all, but
No.
but.
It was just kind of funny.
And you and Brett move purposefully through the world.
We absolutely do.
Even, I think that's all it is. I think it's that since you are moving with a purpose and you had kind of a snarky remark, like it's an alphabetical order, like all...
It was totally Comic Guy from
like
The
all
Simpsons.
book-selling entities.
It's alphabetical.
Well, actually... So, yeah. I think that's what it was. And I think it was innocent. I think it was well-intentioned. As long as they didn't yell at you.
No, a kid.
Well, there you go.
Come on. Yell at me? Comic shop? You want to die? So the funny thing is, so Brett and I go through, we get our pictures, we interact with him. Of course, the rumor tree is he is going to be in Guardians.
Right.
And, of course, Guardians is my favorite. So it really begs the question as far as who in Guardians he's going to be.
Adam Warlock? Did you ask him?
No, I know who Adam Warlock is. He's not Warlock. My money, and I don't know, it might be a stretch, but I could see him being Gladiator.
That's fair.
I got a very good Gladiator kind of feel. Someone said he looks like an elf, and Gladiator has pointy ears. He's blue.
Right.
But, he's from the Shi'ar Empire.
Oh, we haven't heard that in a minute.
Yeah.
The Shi'ar Empire.
Shi'ar Empire. So, I mean, I'm sure it's probably somebody else and somebody completely different. But it was just one of those moments where it's just like, yeah, I can see his Gladiator.
That'd be cool.
But he just, I got a Marvel project. He gives us a little wink, nudge, nudge.
Right. Because they can't talk about it.
Because they can't talk about it. And we're not going to pressure him. We've been in these situations way too many times, and we know the rules. So Brett and I go out to the car. We're talking. And at that point, we're like, wine? Sure.
Why not?
One glass. One. And both Brett and I say together, one glass.
I love you guys, but that has never happened. Ever. Never, ever.
You're probably right.
Never.
So, from where we are, the closest place that we can think of that's open on Easter, that has a bar, is Applebee's. So we drive down.
Barf.
I mean, we're not there to eat, obviously. But for one glass of wine, we get there at 3 o'clock.
Did you close the Applebee's down?
Damn near. We
God.
We got out of there at 10:30.
Being stuffed into Ubers.
Brett and I, to be fair, have done way more damage at other places. Outworld, one of the places, but that was one.
Wow.
Just one.
Your super birthday celebration was at Applebee's.
No, that was just one of them. I mean, Red and I had a good time at the Avs game. There were other festivities. There are other things that were going on. So, but that's probably the best story of Brett and I.
You need a button now that says, ask me about my Applebee's birthday party.
Oh my God, if anyone said it's his birthday, I would have just like... Because I was out on a date and everything last night, and they tiptoed around the, it's his birthday, and I'm like, no.
No, I don't. I am a huge birthday celebrator. I love my birthday. I love your birthday. I love everybody's birthday. I think they're swell. The first problem with that is that Jeremy and our kid Eric don't want to have any birthday party fun at all, and so I'm a birthday obsessor who lives with birthday haters. But keeping that in mind, I never want those poor servers to have to sing and clap and bring a cake. That talk about humiliation.
I feel more upset and annoyed for them than I do me.
Right?
I'm like, I can make an ass out of myself just fine without your help. But I feel bad that you gotta round up these people, and they're like feigning illness, IBS, they have a rupture that inhibits them from singing, all sorts of things not to do this. And I'm like, we don't need to encourage this.
No.
People.
That's bad times. These poor folks are
they're
surviving on
stressed already.
tips. Serving is difficult, especially in the age of the Karen. Sorry, Mom, I know you hate that, but like your work life is hard enough without having to bring a flan with a candle in it to some dork at the table who probably doesn't, you and I make our living like being in front of people and being ridiculous. But that's not true of everybody. And so I think for most people, it's super uncomfortable. The servers don't want it. The birthday person doesn't want it. So I'm sorry that happened to you. I hate that.
It was so fun. I was just like, but I mean, they did offer to bring me like, a cookie and sundae. And I'm like, no, I'm not a dessert person. So thank you. Appreciate that. And that reminded me of a story, and it's in this week's podcast, as far as someone that didn't want it. Believe it or not, this is Star Wars lore.
Okay.
There was someone that was approached to direct Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
You want to throw out an idea, or do you want me to just tell you?
David Lynch.
Yes.
It
Very
was David
good.
Lynch, yeah.
David Lynch, who had one meeting with Lucas,
Well,
and that was it.
David Lynch
Very stylized, very...
has a vision.
Yes.
David Lynch has a vision, and as the director, he wants to be allowed to execute that vision and then not have to talk about it ever again, which doesn't jive with Star Wars. George Lucas is a well-known control freak who, is so controlling of the property, he ruined it. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but I stand by that unpopular opinion.
I agree.
He messed with the first two trilogies so much that it's not even like I have to think to remember how Star Wars originally was, because the versions that you're seeing, the ones that you have on Blu-ray, the one that you have even on VHS, if you still have tapes laying around, they're not what came out.
I do.
Initially.
I got the Laserdisc.
Yeah, it's a totally different version now than what
It is.
we saw growing up. So, yeah.
So Lynch turns it down after a meeting, and of course, history is made as Richard Marquand ends up directing Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I mean, is that one of those moments? I mean, it's David Lynch, and of course, he has. I want to say a successful career, but the man's a legend.
No, he does have a successful career.
Man's a legend.
Just because it doesn't appeal on a mass scale doesn't
True.
mean. But also think about this.
Okay.
This is pretty random. I'm sorry.
Right, random.
So I'm rewatching Beverly Hills 90210, like the OG from when I was in high school. Yeah, I know. It's on Paramount Plus. It's the whole thing. Anyway, I'm trying to justify the subscription fee for Paramount Plus is what's going on.
We'll get to that in a minute.
And
anyway.
there are a lot, especially in the first two seasons, a lot of Twin Peaks references in Beverly Hills 90210. And part of it is because Johanna Ray was the casting agent for both series, Twin Peaks and 90210, but also because Twin Peaks was so unlike anything else on TV at the time, and it was weird and absurd, and it was, I don't know if you remember, but the tagline was like every small town you've ever been to, but like nothing you've ever seen before, or something like that. So the absurdity and the mundane is what drove that show, and it is so prolific. I belong to a fan group online that's like thousands of people. I mean, we saw some of them when we were at the Double R and going to Seattle over Christmas. And I mean,
I loved that you approached that couple on the other side of the booth from us, that if they're asking, are you part of the group? And they looked at you with this glazed over look in their eye, like, get this mad woman. We're just trying to eat lunch.
Are you part of the Lynchland gang? I mean, it's...
Yes.
And I have to say that if you're not familiar with Lynch's work, you feel like it's scary or weird or off-putting or both.
It's obtuse.
But it is obtuse. But those are the nicest people on the internet. I have to say, like, shout out to the Lynchland gang, honestly, because the moderator doesn't have to remind them to behave.
Nice.
People are posting the music that they made inspired by Lynch, or the art that they made, or, like, we got we got like 1,100 likes of that random picture of you and me standing by the waterfall, just because they were so excited for us that we were there.
Like, here, let me get some pictures.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's one of the nicer corners of the internet, and I feel like that's pretty universal. I haven't met a Lynch fan who's kind of a butt.
A nozzle?
Yeah.
Good to know. So just think of how different Lynch's career could have been. It would have been very interesting. I'm curious what his vision for Return of the Jedi would have been.
It would have been much darker.
Way darker.
I think we would have gotten more of the Sith lore. I mean,
Which is fine. We're at the end of the story. We don't need it. He should have directed the Rise of Skywalker and that nonsense.
Yeah,
that better.
But the other component about David Lynch is that he famously doesn't want to talk about the work. He doesn't want to explain the work.
No,
and if you are attached to Star Wars, you're going to be talking Star Wars until you die, whether you want to or not. And you're going to have to explain your creative choices to mouth-breathing nerds.
Lens flares?
Right.
Lens flares.
There's no more lens flares left in the world because J.J. Abrams put them all in Star Trek and
used all of them.
Rise of Skywalker.
So while we were away, a ton of trailers landed. One trailer in particular, we'll get to the one I know you're excited about, but the one that I am like over the moon about is Netflix Love, Death, and Robots reveals Volume 3.
Right?
Oh!
You're so into that.
The best thing, and we also get a release date for it. So the best part of this, and evidently they have done polls of the people that have watched the series, but there's 3 that come back from season 1.
Okay.
And we're seeing a repeat. We're seeing a return. The 3 robots are back for season 3, which is
very cool.
Awesome. They're in the trailer. I will post the trailer on the Facebook page and on the website for you guys to go check out. The date, we don't even have to wait long. May 20th is when this is going to show. However,
that's a big release day.
It is a big release day. The bad side to this is it is only 8 episodes. Again.
Well,
I want more than 8 episodes. Come on. I'm waiting a year in between these things, and all you can give me is 8 episodes. I know it's animated. I know it's an anthology. I know there's so many different things involved with it. I just want more. I'm a greedy nerd.
You are a greedy nerd. Give those animators a chance to do their work.
Faster, 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 faster. I don't sleep. They don't have to either.
Oh, my God.
I'm just surprised that they're actually coming out because, I mean, we kind of heard inklings of it and then radio silence.
And then nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tim Miller is still supervising director, and everybody is just excited to have. I'm excited to have the 3 robots back, and it's the same creative force behind it. So check it out on May 20th. The other trailer, which, let's face it, it's a masterpiece. It is a symphony of just joyous nerd celebration.
It was pretty great.
Thor, Love, and Thunder. We finally get the trailer. We get a lot of. We don't even get shit for answers, but we do see.
The mighty Thor, Jane Foster.
Thor is front and center at the end.
God, that helmet looks great, doesn't it?
The helmet looks great. Mjolnir looks great. I've seen the toy releases, and we get kind of like the Barry Windsor Smith Thor with the visor down.
Awesome.
So we're gonna get that in there. I'm very excited. I know you don't like Chris Pratt in this. I know the Star-Lord element really just rubs you backwards.
I think that Chris Pratt's Star-Lord and Hemsworth's Thor they're chewing too much scenery together. It's too much. It's too bonkers.
Is it too pretty? It's too pretty.
What are you saying about the day I lost like 3 hours because I saw a picture of Chris Hemsworth on a water slide? What are you talking about? No, I just, like, Star-Lord is so goofy and so quippy, and Thor is just, I really, really love this version of Thor, less serious, it's more in line with the comics. I love Taika Waititi's Thor. But the two of them, it's too much. Even in the trailer where we only see them together for seconds, is it 5 seconds? Maybe 10? It's too it's too much. They're too much together. That banter is too aggressive. All they need to do is throw Ryan Reynolds in there for some reason, and then it would just like go off the rails.
Oh my God! Could you just see Ryan Reynolds just walking slowly in the background?
Yeah, it just. Maybe I'll feel differently about it when we have more of a context to it, because
I don't know how long they're going to spend time together, because we get kind of like this visual, like. He's now peace loving.
Right.
He's kind of hung up the hammer. He's retired. He gets back in shape.
Did
It's not Donut Thor anymore. It's
Did
Thor.
you pick up the parallels between like Thor hanging up the hammer and Thanos hanging up the armor?
Yes.
That was great. That was beautiful.
Great callback. It's a great visual to see. But it's so strange to me that they would kind of go this route, because I don't think. Even in the comics, Thor has ever really just hung it up.
No, not really. I don't know. Thor probably more than any of the Avengers is dealing with some PTSD issues, not only from Thanos. He blew up Asgard. They had to.
It's a long series of bad choices for Thor.
Thor's having a bad day.
Yes.
So I think he's just struggling with that, as we all. We don't even have that same degree of responsibility in our lives, and some things just totally derail us.
I like that we're not on Earth.
Right?
That makes me happy, because I don't think we need to be on Earth at this point.
So periodically, you and I talk about things, and I dismiss them, and I'm just like, no, that's not right. And for like a year and a half, you've been talking about, in the wider MCU, bringing up, since they brought up the Celestials and the multiverse and Kang, that we're going to see the Olympic gods.
Yes.
And there's that scene in the trailer that looks like a Zeus lightning bolt, and I was just like, damn it, he's right again.
It's Hercules. We really should just get a board back here.
How do you do that?
Get a board back here that I can keep score on how often I'm right.
I don't mean to sound like I don't mean to imply that you don't know what you're talking about. It just, I've been struggling to string these things together. And I've mentioned this before. By this point in the early MCU, we knew exactly what was happening, what the larger story was.
Right.
But ever since Endgame, the stories seem less interconnected, and maybe they are and maybe they're not, but I'm having a hard time seeing where this is going. And
which we've discussed at length, because we're like, and maybe we're just spoiled at this point.
Right. Maybe I just don't. We're so far out in the weeds. Maybe I just don't have the back catalog to support these.
I think I'm just
predictions.
Lucky. I think I'm just
You
lucky.
think you're just lucky? I don't think so.
I mean, to be fair, I have been reading. I have been a more diverse reader than what your collecting was, and that's could be it. I mean, it's any number of things, and we know that the MCU has gone out of its way to throw curveballs at the fans.
That's true.
So, with that in mind, who knows? The big test will be to see how right I am with May 6th with Doctor Strange.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about that.
So that'll be the true test for my.
I love in the Doctor
skills.
Strange trailer. I love the callback to WandaVision. I love the callback to What If. I mean
What If is playing a huge part of
Oh
this.
yeah.
Huge.
Oh yeah. So I'm really excited about that.
I want some zombies. If we get some zombies.
Some Marvel zombies.
Oh my god.
That was
would be
great. That was a great story.
So good.
Loved that.
But I know we're gonna get I know we're getting Young Avengers, that's for sure.
Yeah.
With William Hurt passing away, it does raise questions about Red Hulk.
It could change your Thunderbolts theory.
It could change my Thunderbolts theory, or they're just going to replace him and bring in Talbot to replace Ross, which wouldn't be
It's not totally off the wall.
It's not totally off the wall, and they've bounced Talbot between titles before, between the Avengers, between Cap, between Hulk. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see them slip Talbot in as the makeshift Band-Aid for that.
As long as it's still Adrian.
You know, that's the question. Who do they use as Talbot?
I thought he was. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had big problems.
Yes.
I won't even defend it. It had big problems, but I loved him as Talbot in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He was just so, to Greg Clark, who already plays such a straight man, you know, against these bonkers, whatever they were, these agents, these non-serious people.
Right.
And then Talbot is somehow even more of a straight man. Like how, and he was so serious, he was absurd. And the facial expression, it was great. I thought he was great.
The grimace.
Right, that...
Yeah. Speaking off of the wall, Moon Knight has premiered. We're 3 episodes in the, 6, 7 episodes?
6.
Episode 1, I don't want to use the term groundbreaking, but it was very well done. It was very well produced. It was very, 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 very.
Right.
But Marvel's problem has never been starting. They can start and give you this hoopla and parade of
we've been
nerdtasticness. Go on.
Well, we've been watching it here in the office.
Yes.
And I've been taking some criticism at home. Like, why are you renting an office and going to work if you're, eating cake and watching TV?
I'm going to eat my cake and watch Marvel too.
Yeah. So, yeah, my mom's like, are you even working? You're just watching TV and eating cake? Yeah.
Occasional cocktail, margarita.
So, yeah, we've been watching it here, and we agreed that first episode was amazing. I love the frenetic pacing of it, and I love the shaky camera shots because it lends a lot to Steven or Mark's situation, because you, as the viewer, you also don't know what's going on. It's scary and confusing, and everything is shaky, and I love it. And then you and I diverge.
Yes.
As usual.
Because where the episode 1 lends credence to exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
It leaves you with that jarring kind of thing, and they did exactly what I said they were going to do. They're going to do these sharp cuts.
Yep. That
leaves out all of the action.
Well,
you just see the aftermath.
Early on, they do that
they do.
Because who really knew Moon Knight before 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And we were even talking to Vadim about it. Who is Moon Knight? He's always had kind of
Vadim's
a hard.
Like,
Who is
Moon
he?
Knight?
Who is he? It's always actually what Vadim asked was, do you read the comics or have you read the comics?
Yes.
But not many people knew him, and the comics had problems from the get-go. He's kind of Batman. He's kind of not Batman. Is he possessed? Is he mentally ill? Is he, what does he have powers only if it's a waxing crescent moon? So it's
there has been a lot of problems with his
He's
vehicle.
not a top tier hero. No. The book has had some issues, but I think the execution of this show is fantastic. I know you wanted different things, and we argued about this last week, too.
I do.
But I think it's great. I think the casting is great. I think
the casting is great.
I think the changes make sense. The only thing that I have a problem with is Arthur Harrow. Right? The bad guy. The villain.
The main bad guy.
Who's
normally a director these days.
He's in one story in one book in the whole run of Moon Knight. He's not a rogues gallery villain. He's a throwaway guy.
But see,
so how did he become the bad guy, the big bad in this series? That is a little bit of a...
Because here's the problem. And this is the problem that we've seen. Luke Cage...
Right.
Iron Fist, the Defenders, that group right there, even Jessica Jones is kind of in this bubble, but she's a strong enough character to carry it.
Right.
That they don't have a rogues gallery. When it comes to villains, they suck. So
And
when you're looking at Moon Knight without bringing in a supernatural element,
Right.
what do you do? And these gods that they talk about that we see in episode 3 are horrible. They are the wimpiest, non-informed gods. Wait a second, they're gonna break out someone that you imprisoned and you have no idea what's going on? You bunch of morons.
Well, they're on the take. They bought hair. They are.
What are they taking?
Well, they're in,
Extra lamb sacrifices? I
Yes.
mean, they're gods.
they're in league with Harrow. I mean, you see the Osiris avatar walking with him after they imprison Honshu. There's something going. They're
is some
working
subterfuge
together. There's
going on,
something
yes.
else going on. I didn't mean literally on the take. They're not taking bribes. There's something else going
If
on.
you do it, we give you extra goats.
Right?
No.
And you're right about the Netflix Defenders series. They were not fighting the right
No.
villains. They were
Exactly.
fighting each other's rogue gallery when they had such, the like Cottonmouth and Bushwhacker. Aren't they traditionally Spider-Man villains?
They actually kind of fall more with Cap. They're with the
Do
Serpent
they?
Society.
Oh yeah.
So they kind of, memory serves, and they do more with Cap and the Serpent Society and Sin Eater when he starts going on his
right.
tear and wipes them all out.
So I mean, they were excellent. I really liked what we got there, but those are not Luke
was too
Cage
little too late.
villains.
Yeah.
And Kilgrave is not a Jessica Jones villain. That was masterful storytelling.
Yes.
It was genius
better.
to do that. And the way that they dealt with PTSD and consent and all of that was amazing. So Jess is already a very tough person, is already dealing with some things, and then they gave her a real, actual, not just super villainy thing, but a real issue to deal with. That was great. But even Daredevil is fighting Kingpin. And Punisher is,
Well,
God, I love Punisher.
Punisher was
It
great.
surprises people since I put out this super cutesy image that I love Punisher too. But there's something about watching that man waylace to New York City that I just am in awe of it. But they were all over the place. And even though, I mean, we were a little starved for content at that point, and I'm not saying that those are bad shows, but they're all over the place.
They are all over the place. They
and
need
I-
a better roadmap. Same with Moon Knight, because we got exactly what I thought. We got the cutaway scenes. None of that came as a surprise. I do like the execution, and it made perfect sense.
Yeah.
But it should have been one and done. As the story progressed, we should have seen more and done less with the blackout scenes and the bickering back and forth of the two personalities is kind of starting to grate on my nerves. And then you've got the moon god in there, supplying his 2 cents worth, and I'm like, I'm expecting more, and we're not getting it.
Well, we only hit the halfway point.
Well, yeah, we should be super ramped up by this. Because if you think of traditional storytelling, the first 2 episodes is first act, second act, third act. We should be really super ramped up at this point to close out.
Well, you don't think that losing Honshu and Harrow in league with Osiris, and
No.
you don't think that is...
No. It could have been
Okay.
way better. Way better.
You're so picky sometimes. Why can't you just enjoy it?
I am enjoying it for what it is. And to be fair, the guy playing Moon Knight,
Oscar Isaac.
thank you, is doing a spectacular job.
He is.
I like how he's shifting between accents. I like how he even changes the mannerisms, but there's confusion as far as who's driving. Because there's scenes that we know it's Steven, but he's doing stuff that only Mark can do.
Well, I think that is leading to, I'm just guessing here, but I feel like we're going to have kind of a personality reunification.
Well, and that's the other thing of them not being well aware Steven's aware that he, walks or sleepwalks and chains himself up, but at the same
but
point
doesn't really know why.
Exactly. So there's a lot of interesting gaps. I'm fine with it for the storytelling vehicle that we are in, but
Well, I said all along that the dissociative personality disorder was going to be a strange choice for this. I think they're executing it pretty well.
They are.
I do want to point out that is not the reality of DID.
No.
But here we are. I think they're doing a good job. I think he's good in the show. I wonder what they're going to do with the Midnight Man character now that actor has died. Are they going to recast? Are we never going to see it? Is this a one-off and we'll never see him again? And
I think they killed him when he was riding off on the horse.
Right.
And they shot him, so I don't think we're getting him back.
Right.
Especially with him passing away in real life.
And I struggle with that too. Like, why introduce the Midnight Man if that's it?
Well, I don't think. I mean, his passing was kind of unexpected. I don't think.
Well,
we
I don't
really
mean
saw that
I don't
one
mean the actor. I mean from a storytelling choice.
No
Like
idea.
if that scene played the way they wrote it originally, instead of dealing with that
And he might
loss
show
of the
up
actor.
later. We don't know. With it being halfway point, we don't know.
Right. It just seems like an odd choice.
It does. But again,
Right.
Moon Knight does not have a plethora of villains to lean on.
No, because he's kind of all over the place. I keep bringing up West Coast Avengers, and this is another plus for me, because he is in and out of West Coast Avenger. Moon Knight is in and out of West Coast Avengers over the years, and
Yeah, but
sporadically.
He's not a founding member.
He's not a founding member, but
And
come on,
I know.
work with me here.
I'm working with you. You're right. I apologize. You are right.
Throw me a line here.
The problem is there is no clear path for this character.
No.
And I know the ratings are good.
Yeah.
They're better than some of the other shows that we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
But I don't, and to have the director spouting off that he's going to be like the new Tony Stark, he's going to be a staple and he can see him going for the next 10 years. I'm saying 5 max. Shelf life of this character is 5 years max. Because we're looking at a typical Defender situation.
Right.
He doesn't. What does he do after this?
Exactly. And what are they doing with the book? Are you telling me that Moon Knight is selling more than Guardians or Fantastic Four, which both were canceled recently?
Well, yeah, so to say Guardians is on hiatus right now, and Fantastic Four is coming to the chopping block again, so.
Right. So is there a current Moon Knight title? Did they revive it for the show? Was it always in print?
Marvel's timing is horrible when it comes to their properties, because they never have anything coincide at all.
And is this just a way to hold us over while they deal with the X-Men? Like what? It was
They're appeasing the nerds by giving them Moon Knight.
Well, I don't know. I've said all along it was an odd choice. I'm enjoying it, but you can't deny it was a strange choice to bring Mark Spector forward when they have this incredible catalog of other people.
Yeah, very true. I guess we'll wait and see. Another strange choice is Superman and Lois. If you're watching this show, then you're well aware of my gripes with it. But it is a spectacular show. And actually, the showrunner has finally offered a cryptic response to the number one question of where the frick is Supergirl?
Okay, where the frick is Supergirl?
Evidently, she is going to make an appearance sometime before the end of this season, season 2. We'll get that answer and a few more. But this show has done such an amazing job of just even messing with me and me being wrong that it wasn't Doomsday, it was Bizarro.
I enjoyed that. I may have reveled in that moment
just a little bit. Just a bit.
Yeah, like I wasn't throwing confetti or anything. There was no pointing and laughing, but it was a little bit of like, ha ha. I had a tiny Nelson moment, and then we went on with our day. It was fine.
So Superman and Lois have been renewed for a season 3, along with Flash being renewed for a season 9. However, Flash is looking to end the series with season 9 in a much shorter season. So we are about to see the end of the longest running CW show, and evidently this has kind of come up more that Warner Brothers is trying to sell off the CW. Like the whole television thing.
That's crazy.
It is nuts. So I'm not sure.
Is the end of the Flash series planned, or do you think it coincides with Ezra Miller's legal issues?
So the legal issues with Ezra Miller and the fans have spoken, which brings me up to this, that everybody wants Grant to take over Ezra's position.
Right.
But evidently another person has been tapped to fill in or take over for Ezra.
Huh.
But I don't know how serious the charges or what Ezra is into, because obviously other celebrities have done heinous things or,
Amber
misstepped
Heard.
and still have jobs. So I don't know if Ezra Miller has done something so unforgivable or if it's waiting legal precedent or whatever is going to go. I try not to...
Right.
I try not to look too hard into there, because there's still people at the end of the day. We all make bad choices.
We do.
7 days worth of wine. But it happens.
Closing down the Applebee's. I suspect that, and I don't know at all.
Right.
But I suspect that Ezra's dealing with some substance abuse issues, and that dealing with that is probably paramount. I
Yes.
mean, he broke the law and he wasn't a good guy, but in the long list of egregious errors, his are not great, but I don't think they're the worst things ever done in the human history.
No, he's not the worst.
I'm
I mean,
not
he's not
defending
the best.
it. I'm not
Exactly,
defending
no
it.
defense
I'm
here,
just
but
saying that
we don't get it. But the CW's got other problems coming, because you have the new series that is tentative to come called Gotham Knights,
Right.
which is based off of the video game and the premise of Bruce Wayne is dead.
right.
And he basically just disavowed everybody, and he's gone, and everyone in the Bat family tries to carry on without him. So this is not going to happen in the Arrowverse.
Okay.
And it's not tied to Batwoman, who's on the chopping block. Legends of
Right.
Tomorrow is on the chopping block.
Right.
And there's one more. Batwoman, Legends, and Naomi.
Yeah.
Naomi is also kind of on teetering ground. I don't get Naomi. I'm not a teenage girl in high school, and I don't
What?
I
I'm
don't
so
like the ripoff
shocked.
from Sarah Jane Chronicles as far as the opening. I tried watching this show just so I could see like a hawk person from
Right.
Thanagar, and
Right. It just wasn't.
it's painful.
In my opinion, they've always had problems. The DC TV universe, even the movies, like you said before, it always feels like they're a day late and a dollar short.
They are.
And then I haven't seen very many episodes of very many of these, but they don't seem to interconnect in any way, which was the success with Marvel. They all lived in the 616 universe and things lined up, but that doesn't seem to be the case with DC.
Right.
So
We'll see. We'll wait. We'll see if Warner Brothers can sell off the CW, and we'll move on from that. Other shows calling it quits. After only 3 seasons, Lock and Key will also be done.
I didn't realize that was still on.
Well, to be fair, we've only got 2 seasons of Lock and Key.
Right.
Now, the only reason, and I think that we're getting this, is just because how Netflix sets up its shows, but season 2 and 3 were shot back to back.
Okay.
Kind of like Ex Machina.
Yeah.
They have actually done seasons 1 and 2 together.
Okay.
We just don't know when the
When
second.
they'll come out.
Yes.
Yeah.
But evidently it was only originally thought for running for 3 seasons when they started building this. Which I'm kind of sad to see this go, but I think Joe Hill's vision can only go so far, because it really does get weird after they finish with the Locke family and all of that.
Right. I feel like Joe has a lot of pressure.
Because he's Stephen King's son?
That's the one.
Because Horns, I like that. I love the book, but when
Right.
we turn that into a show with Daniel Radcliffe,
Right.
I was like,
I'm not.
So awkward.
I'm not saying that Stephen King is putting that pressure on Joe. I'm not saying that Joe can't live up to
The hype. Right.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that we, as a community, tend to put a lot of things on people's doorsteps.
Just leave him alone.
Right? Like, I think we're not always the kindest people, too. So I just wonder if we put too much.
Have you seen a picture of Stephen King lately?
No, not
He looks
lately.
like the freaking Crypt Keeper. I mean, that man is gaunt, needs a tan, and is just really creepy. I thought Alan Moore...
Thank you for highlighting my point that we're not always the kindest
I know.
group of people.
Thought I'd jump on that.
That was a easy bucket. That
Because it's just, I just saw him like doing, I don't know what it was. It was like a Stephen King doing TikTok, and I'm just like, okay, this does not need to happen. And then just like, what is wrong with Stephen King's face? It's just not where it's supposed. It's all. No.
people age.
What? Shut up.
Yeah, people
No.
age, and we
Bourgeois.
change as we get older.
Whatever.
We use the wrong vocabulary words
Whatever.
in the wrong context.
Grammar matters. The more you know. So we have no date as far as when this will happen. The official statement from the people over in Lock and Key: once we began working on the series, we felt 3 seasons was the ideal length to bring the story of the Locke family and their Key House adventures to a satisfying conclusion. As storytellers, we are grateful that we had the opportunity to tell our version of Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez's incredible story exactly the way we wanted. We're keeping the magical keys, though, for our own personal use. You bastards.
Well, sometimes it's better to tell the story and get the heck out of Dodge.
I mean, I'm totally in agreement with you.
Because we all know, I mean, there's tons of shows that should have quit
Yes.
long before they did. So, yeah.
And one I don't know that is coming that probably shouldn't is the Super Mario movie that's coming out
Again?
in December 21st with Chris Pratt voicing Mario.
I don't even know what to say about that.
I got nothing. And Charlie Day is in this. Anya Taylor-Joy is as well. I just scratch my... I mean, the people that do Despicable Me are the ones behind it, but okay.
I probably wasn't going to watch it anyway, but I despise Charlie Day's work.
Why?
I don't know. Something about... I hate that show. Always Sunny?
Yeah.
I hate that show. I cannot stand how selfish and horrible those people are. It puts my teeth on edge. And I don't mean to imply that Charlie is a terrible person or that they're terrible people for putting out this show or that you're a bad person for liking it.
You're going to make Danny DeVito cry.
I can't stand it. It's so upsetting to me. Like, whenever it comes on, I have to change the channel immediately because it just is so off-putting. The world is crappy enough. We don't need to have it on our TVs too. They're such horrible people, and I know that that's what makes the show funny, but I just don't like it.
Horrible
I really,
people
really hate it.
behaving horribly.
Yeah, that's why I don't like Seinfeld too.
You took the question right out of my mouth because I'm like, that was the whole premise of Seinfeld.
And I really struggle with Friends because Ross is so awful.
Oh no, Ross is an absolute horrible person, which makes me wonder because there's this expo or the Friends experience that's happening June 16th through September 5th. It's happening down in the Cherry Creek West area, First and Clayton, and you can basically visit all of the all the different sets for Friends.
Can we do something else that day?
Those months, absolutely.
Like, maybe we could take turns giving each other at-home root canals or something. Like,
so you can explore 12 rooms of the set recreations: Joey and Chandler's apartment, Monica and Rachel's kitchen, Central Perk. You'll even get to poke ugly naked guy.
ew.
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 Yeah. I don't really know if poking ugly naked guy is a good choice. There's also the reenacting of this the couch in front of the fountain. I'm with you. Friends is fine, but when I looked at the ticket prices, I'm kind of okay. Standard ticket, all ages, $42.50.
That's a lot. Is it even the real stuff? Is it? Are they actual set pieces, or are they?
That's on Universal's
So
lot.
you're not even seeing the real things.
No.
Why would you pay? I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Children ages 4 to 10, they get a discount at $34.50.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool if that's what you want to do. I went and stood in line at a coffee shop in Lakewood for the Gilmore Girls re-release. So, like, I don't have a leg to stand on here, but that just doesn't. But that only cost me the price of a latte. I didn't pay $45 to go and.
Were they signing anything? You just showed up and.
No, they turned the coffee shop into Luke's. They had all like the signs, and they had branded cups. It was really cute. I mean, it was. If I had had to pay $40 for it, I would have stayed home.
You'd have been like, bitches,
it was.
I'm out.
Yeah, it was.
Interesting.
I don't know. I just don't like Friends enough to shell out for that, especially if it's not even the real props.
No, not the real props.
Boo.
So,
what
Paramount
other parades
Plus,
can I rain on?
Yes, let's see. Paramount Plus is struggling. I don't know if I want to say struggling, but they definitely have some challenges. Halo, which is not hitting the numbers that they thought.
Why, I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
First episode, he takes off his freaking helmet. I about shit myself. I'm like, because the whole premise behind the Master Chief is the Master Chief can be anybody.
Right.
He's androgynous. He has the gold, so it's a reflection. So you see yourself as the Master Chief.
Right.
Takes the helmet off. The only wise choice that they made in this whole thing is who they have to play the Master Chief, who is the leprechaun from American Gods.
Oh, yeah. I
got the same response out of Red when I told her. It's like, you know who's under the Master Chief
Pablo
helmet?
Schreiber.
The man is doing a spectacular job. He's got the kind of the chief reserved awkwardness going. The man's a specimen. They have this scene of him standing naked in front of a mirror. And he's buck freaking naked right there. It's like, wow, okay.
He was excellent as Mad Sweeney. He was good in American Gods. And I mean,
he was the only redeemable. Well, not only him and Orlando Jones did an incredible representation of those characters.
Angry Mr. Nancy. I know so many people didn't like that, but I
loved that take.
Magnificent.
And the passion that Orlando brought to all of that, and the whole storytelling, and
that suit.
The suits. I was jealous of the suit.
So it sounds like a weird thing to latch onto, but when you put it in the context of that scene, how tailored and pristine and dressed up he is in this slave ship, and having this rant and not just a rant, but a belligerent rant anyway. That was
speaking with purpose.
Amazing.
There was a story. There was direction.
Oh,
it was him exerting his god power.
That was amazing.
And it was so eloquently done.
And I would have personally watched like 12 seasons of the Laura Moon Mad Sweeney road trip show. That was so funny. And I really loved how they brought Laura Moon forward as a character. She's a tiny bit of a prop in the book because the book is Shadow's story, and in the show they had the room to expand upon that. I seriously I would watch Laura Moon and Mad Sweeney all day.
What, chapter 3 or 4? They just left her in the dust, and that was
well, it's a little later, but yeah, she's not a fully realized character in the book.
But I just loved how much they punished Mad Sweeney in the TV show. Oh my god. And it was great, and he played it so well.
Funny. Oh my gosh. I love that. So, well, he's a good actor.
He is a good actor.
He's good at what he does, and
he does a great job as the Master Chief. The story is a little But they didn't scrimp on special effects. The sound and the noises and the music and all of that works. We're on Reach, which I told Vadim when we were kind of sitting back here watching it that I want to see the fall of Reach. I want to see that fight.
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen like a whole, like, anything. I mean, we've seen some skirmishes. We've seen Master Chief kind of be Master Chief, but we haven't seen like all out, just except for the first episode.
Right.
Which is kind of disappointing. So I can understand why Halo is kind of not where it needed to be.
Yeah, this is my surprised face. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Insert Sorak blink here.
I'm just not right. Did we buy that blink noise?
I'm
like,
working.
Do we
on
have
that.
it?
I'm working on that.
Yeah, I'm just not that surprised. Again, I'm not making fun of you if you love it. You're entitled to your own opinion, but I'm not.
I don't know if
surprised.
I love it, but at least they didn't cut corners.
Okay.
Which I'm happy about. We get more Spartans, which is nice. We get a little bit more of the lore. Still takes his helmet off frickin' all the damn time. It's like watching Stallone in Judge Dredd.
Oh my God, that's such a terrible movie.
Carl Urban is the definitive Judge Dredd. Period. At me. I dare you.
That was such a weird movie.
Which?
Stallone's.
Oh,
Judge
Stallone,
Dredd.
yes.
Yeah, that was just a
Rob
weird.
Schneider.
That was just a weird movie.
Talk about a throwaway. Speaking of throwaway, and I haven't decided which way I want to go with this, and thank God it's only going to 3 seasons. As Star Trek Picard is just... I don't get it.
Agnes is the worst. I came in...
You know
Do you
what?
remember I'm sure you can't forget. I heard the TV the other day as I was getting ready to leave, and I came back here, and you and Vadim were watching, and I'm just like, hate Agnes.
You word vomited all over Vadim and I that we even like had to
cannot make a good decision to save her life.
Vegetable soup, alphabet soup.
Right? It was. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I was very angry about that, but I just hate Agnes Girardi. Like, what is her damage? She just is so terrible at every turn.
Spoilers, she's got the Borg grain inside of her. I mean, I'm not going to chalk this all up to just her.
But she allowed that situation to happen with her bad decision making and her terrible personality. And
wow, terrible personality.
Yeah, she's awful.
Vadim, is she awful?
I don't think so. I think it's, again, the Borg Queen is inside of her, so... And she's not exactly in control of her body right now.
And she did this great song. I mean, she belted to the rafters.
That's fine.
And then she did the sleazy...
She can be a good singer and a terrible person.
Then she did the sleazy streetwalker walk down the...
Right?
down Hollywood Boulevard.
Busting out windows. Michelle Hurd is going to be at Starfest, and I'm so freaking excited about that.
I saw that.
Anyway, yeah, Agnes is awful. I'm enjoying Picard. Some of the decisions have been odd, but it's easy for me to armchair quarterback this because I've got nothing on the line.
Well, and that's the problem. Because, again, time travel, alternate dimensions and time travel, it's the same recipe over and over and over again. We have Q.
Right.
Who is omnipotent. He can have anything happen, and this is the best they can come up with, is throwing them back in time. And I have an issue, and a major one, because Guinan, okay, first of all, why not just use Whoopi to play herself in her own bar? And they had the whole Data's Head episode where they go back to Tom Sawyer's era, and Guinan and Picard interact intimately. And that's the whole reason why she likes bald men, is because he saved her. She even makes a reference to that.
Isn't there a little bit of a mind wipe at the end of that one, though?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
Maybe to Tom Sawyer, but I totally just botched that name. Anyway.
Yeah, you did. That was great.
Mr. Data.
It's I like that they time travel back to essentially the mirror universe timeline, though. So they're not in the mirror universe in the horrible xenophobic future.
Which we saw in Deep Space Nine.
But it is along the lines of the Terran Empire and that whole rift, the mirror universe rift.
Building towards it, correct.
Yeah. It's not been my favorite Trek franchise, but I don't dislike it the way that you do.
It's not that I dislike it, because I liked Picard. I'm just disappointed. You're bringing back all of these characters. You're giving us a certain amount of fan service, but it's really hard to have any kind of emotional connection or even have any kind of inkling of how horrible or how wrong things have gone for anyone other than Seven and Picard. The one Vulcan kid, okay, I feel bad. He's dead.
Well,
Who cares?
He'll come back.
Exactly.
They'll fix it and he'll come back.
Exactly. There's no consequences. We're going to get everybody back, and it's just kind of one of those lame kind of...
I don't think that they're telling the same kind of adventure story that Trek usually tells, though. It's more of, we're dealing with Picard's trauma surrounding his mother, and I think there's just other issues here. And we're seeing, Seven doesn't have her implants now, and she's able to live a more normal life. And Raffi is recovering from serious substance abuse, and she doesn't have regular contact with her own child, so I think she's kind of made, what's his name, Eleanor? I almost called him Elrond.
Elrod.
The Vulcan kid, I think, is a substitute for her. I do have to say, though, I had a very personal moment during the last episode of Picard where they beam that kid into the spaceship. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've been in public with me. I touch every damn thing. I press every button I come across. I touch everything.
You are a toddler sometimes.
I can't help it. And I looked at Jeremy and I said, see, it's a genetic memory. Like, I have to, that little kid, the actor's last name is Gutierrez, which is my last name. So it is, in fact, a genetic
trait.
It is a genetic trait.
I like that.
I have to touch every button. I felt nothing but joy when that little guy was like, I'm going to touch everything. Yeah, that's me, man. That was
like
great.
Getting in the elevator and having to touch all the buttons, which I think you all wanted to do one place, and we're like, no. I
threaten it, but I never really have done it because I try not to be a jackass in public. Not to say I'm not a jackass, I just try not to do it in public.
Just overshadowed by my jackass.
So, yeah.
Anyway.
I'm enjoying Picard, but it's not my favorite outing. And
no. I'm just tired of them doing the same shtick.
Well, you say that. We're watching Disco for the first time. There was a personal crisis when it was first coming out, and Jeremy... Discovery?
Oh, gotcha.
Anyway, we were having bad times, and around the time that came out, so we're only seeing it for the first time now. And I'm not... I feel like Enterprise is happening all over again, where they're taking the easy way out. I'm sorry to talk about this thing that's like 5 years old. I'm so late to this party, but they went to the mirror universe, but why? What purpose does that serve? What are they doing? And it just feels like the Xindi Wars and pointless time travel all over again.
It's true.
So
I don't know. Maybe they've got a better roadmap than I can see, but I'm just kind of like, all right, so let's just get to season 3. Let's get the fan service going. I like that Brett Spiner is a descendant of Noonien Soon in this timeline with Picard.
Yeah.
Which is okay. I like that twist. That was cool.
So let me ask you this.
All right.
Khan? Did he take the Soon last name because he's related or because they were all Soon's genetic experiments? Nobody seems to be able to answer that question for me.
I don't think that they're I guess he would have been part of Soon's genetic experiments, but I don't know if I don't think they've really laid that out in the timeline. No, because unless that was like a next gen thing that they thought about.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But I don't think the timeline lines up necessarily right, because Soon I would think would already been off planet by that point.
Well, that Dr. Soon, but from the eugenics wars, that was a Dr. Soon as well.
I don't know if they're related.
They are.
Okay.
So
then you're ahead of me on this one.
Khan Noonien Soong, say that 5 times fast. Did he take, I just found myself wondering as we're looking at little Corey soon and Brent Spiner as Noonien Soong's predecessor, and that's all. I'm just wondering. I just wonder about
You might
stuff.
be onto something. You might be on to more than what I actually thought
You've
about.
been in the car with me where I'm like, I wonder how much that thing costs, or why did they name this road this? Sometimes I just wonder things. It's not going anywhere. It doesn't mean anything. I'm just curious.
No, I get that. I guess we will find out.
All right.
That's pretty much this week.
Okay.
We have the end of April, so we're going into Starfest.
We are going into Starfest.
Starfest is our next outing that I can think of.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's the Retro 80s show that is the following week. But I think we'll be at Starfest before we do our next episode.
Oh, yeah.
At least, I'll be here ranting by myself like a madman. But
I'm just down the hall. Like, we could rant at each other.
But Vadim, myself, and Susie will be...
Red.
Huh?
And Red.
And Red. Red will be at the table.
Yeah.
So we will be there for the final hurrah. The big kiss-off, if you will.
It's the last day of school.
It is the last day of school.
I don't know what else to say. Like, is your Facebook feed flooded with memories of Starfest? Because that's all mine is right now. It's just all the people we know and all the...
I've got a few in there with Ghostbuster stuff and some other things, but yeah, a lot of...
Yeah.
And then there was Save Starfest, which I admire them, I applaud them, but that's not going to happen. This is it. And everyone else, like, we had a conversation the other day, someone sent me a direct message that I haven't talked to in like ages, and they're all like, is this really happening? And I'm like, yeah, this is it. They're like, well, why don't you buy it? I'm like, I don't want to buy Starfest.
Want to? Well, I mean, that's such a bad position to be in, because it was Starfest for 45 years. Do you want to take over something after 45 years? And then again, and we talk about this with other things too. If it's not identical to the way it always was, you're going to have problems. If you take it over and try and do it the same, it won't be the same. You're not doing it. So how do you ever get through that?
Yeah.
I think we have to raise a toast and cherish our memories and find something new to do.
And I think that's probably the best. I think that's the best approach.
Yeah.
I know Vadim is going to do his wizard magic on making this like a nice tribute kind of send-off.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the Love Boat's final tour. But this is it. I mean, I never thought I would, and a lot of people have said this on the Save the Con, I never thought I would see a con close its doors.
No.
This is like almost unheard of. I mean, you have cons that don't come back, but never have they said officially, like,
we're done.
We're done.
This is it. No more.
Yeah, we're out.
Well, I mean,
Peace out, the bitches.
We
get into the chopper.
We could go on and on about the logistics of it, but and we've talked offline too about how meaningful this is to people and how much of our lives this, and it's strange, it's 2.5 days once a year for the most part, and how, I mean, we could fill weeks of podcasts just talking about Starfest. Like, we could come in here every day and talk about it.
Years of stuff that's gone on. Even stuff that I remembered after we had talked about.
Right?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So I think we need to have like a highlight show at some point, but then we need to send it off.
Yeah.
And
I think we just give it the proper funeral pyre that we do. You know, stick Starfest on a raft, set it out to the center of the lake, and fire the flame arrow into it. Tuan just came in.
Tuan just came in with bao. Yay!
Oh, well, I guess I know what we're doing.
Right? We're eating bao.
We're eating
cupcakes.
Bao and cupcakes.
Because apparently we're still celebrating your birthday.
Why not? Let's close out April. Smurf is just going to have to get wheeled off to intensive care or find a new liver donor. Just going to be old red eye. Give us a like. Give us a share. Please follow Susie. Come and visit Susie's booth. 5280 Geek will have a booth. Red will be there.
Oh,
Little
yeah.
Boo will be there.
Oh, yeah.
Vadim will be running around.
Can't wait.
So it'll be action-packed. Follow Susie. Follow Vadim. Elkind Photography.
Elkin Media.
Elkind Media.
Whatever.
You know, the one guy that like does all the things. He has this beautiful picture that promotes us, and yeah, I can't even get his name right. No, go to Vadim. He's brilliant. He's amazing.
Heck yeah.
We love Vadim.
We do.
We would be busted without Vadim. Otherwise, I think that's it for this week.
That's it.
And on that
That's all I got.
bombshell, we shall say goodbye. Give us a like, give us a share. Tell your friends about us because we want to be the dirty secret that everybody keeps. In the meantime, run fast, laugh hard, and always be kind. Good night.
Okay, first of all, Judge Dredd with Stallone is awesome. I don't know what you guys are
No,
talking about.
are you kidding me?
I love that movie. Oh, yeah.